Jones gets ready to take the snap. Jones drops back. He's going to look deep down the middle of the field. And Dennis Hawk, what a play!
Gonna hand off the outside, number 14, Banks. Banks spinning back in. They're gonna say he's still up. He's running. He's tearing them in. Will he get set? Yes!
That is touchdown, Grizzlies.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the MAFL Breakdown. It is Thursday night, so we are going to be talking some Midwest Arena Football League football. I am your host, Chad Roland. I am from Shady Sports Network, as you can see here. So shout out to the network and everybody that is tuning in live, watching us. And with me, as always, will be every Thursday night, is none other than Curtis Schweiger. Curtis, good evening, man. How are you doing tonight?
How you doing, Chad? This is our first episode, man. I'm Kurt Schweiger from UFL Fan Den, and I'm excited for our first episode, man, to get it underway here.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this, I feel like, for like 3-4 weeks, right? So finally getting everything all in line and whatnot. So what is this show about, right? This is our introduction episode to where we're going to be breaking down each week in the MAFL. We'll do some recaps, and then this is going to be a 3-tier episode, like 3-pillar episode, right? So we're going to have recaps that go over the previous week games. We'll break that down. We'll talk a little bit about those games as well, maybe provide some stats. And then we will do interviews, and we do have a great interview lined up with tonight, so we'll reveal that guest later on. And then finally, we will do the preview of the upcoming week, including some pick'ems and all that as well. So a lot of good things that we'll get into. But first, we really want to introduce and just talk about ourselves and how we got involved with the MAFL. So I'll go ahead with you, start with you, Curtis. How did you get involved with this product with the MAFL?
Well, I'm a fan of the AFL, now AF1. So I was just flicking through, going through the YouTube channels, and I seen this MAFL logo. I clicked on it and I started checking it out in the teams. So I said right away, I'm going to pick, the Bulldogs. So I picked them as my team. Got a hold of the commissioner, Damian Santiago. Started talking back and forth with him, and next thing you know, we started talking about a podcast, and so I just enjoy it. It was something exciting. It's new. The only thing that drove me crazy was there were no nets. I started watching the first couple games and there were no nets there. So, but like the commissioner said, he said that now next year, hopefully he can work and get some nets, if they can get some good sponsors, for the league,
Yep.
Coming in, and they can get nets, and maybe some owners will come in. I was talking to him a week and a half ago and about expansion and, stuff like that. And maybe they will expand. I'm not sure. It depends on sponsors. It depends on, people coming in, ownership, and stuff like that. So, it's exciting, to see a new league from the bottom working its way up. And I've seen in the last 3 to 4 weeks since I've been watching, each game has gotten better and better and better. I think this weekend is going to be a really good game. I mean, one you can really follow. When I first started watching it, I was kind of, it wasn't uniform, wasn't structured enough where I wasn't keeping track of the scores and the quarterback play, their stats and stuff like that, which I always love, keeping track of the stats from the quarterbacks and stuff like that, and running backs and stuff like that. And I couldn't follow it the first game. Second game, I started seeing a little bit more, the yardage and the passing yards. And the third game last week, we started getting the stats and stuff like that. So I'm excited about that and looking forward to this double feature this weekend.
Yeah, and for myself, I joined up not too long ago, like right before the season began. I actually joined up with Shady Sports and really got involved in talking with him and I was Sam Shady in the chat as well. And I was actually going to originally just start writing articles for Shady Sports and talking about the MAFL, and had the opportunity to come on this channel and be able to interview the commissioner, Damian Santiago, and then myself and him had a great conversation and talked about how I was a broadcaster and everything else as well for a different type of football, for an esport football league called the Simulation Football League. And so when that opportunity came, Indianapolis, where I'm from, they had a team here called the Enforcers, and so I was able to go to that game and broadcast that first game, and it was awesome.
That was
being able
awesome.
to be there, being able to be there and just call the game on the field and do all. It was a special moment for me, and and so I just really got heavily involved with the league, right, and doing some graphic work and this and that here and there, and then the idea of this podcast came up, and Damien and them were like, go for it, man. Like, go have fun with it. And so that's how, we're able to get this show going here tonight, by us two joining up. So what is this show, once again, like I said, going to be about? Each and every Thursday night, 9 p.m., we are going to, as I said, we'll do the recaps, we'll do the interviews, and then we will also do previews as well. So with that said, let's roll right into it, right? And we had a pretty good week 3 worth of games so far. We had 2 games. So if you don't know what this league is, first off, go check it out. Second, it's 5 teams in this league. And so there's always 2 games a week, and then there's always 1 team on a bye week. So the first game that we could talk about, which I'll bring up the score graphic right here, is the Mid-Michigan Grizzlies taking on the Tri-State Bucks, as Mid-Michigan comes out and wins that game 16-8, Curtis. And I know you and I both were in the chat, and we were watching that game. I want you to give me your reaction to that game between Mid-Michigan and Tri-State.
Well, I watched it right from the first quarter, and I thought for sure it just seemed that the Bucks were just so close, but yet so far away. Mm-hmm. They had some good passes. The receiver didn't catch the ball. I know they had some pretty good long bombs there down the yard line there, and just could not catch those balls. But they were close. I think it was like 8-0 at halftime. I think it was when they went in at halftime. It was 8-0, and I thought for sure the Bucks were going to come out, and because an 8-point deficit is nothing to take care of. They could have come back and beat that 8-point deficit like nothing, but they didn't. For some reason, they just could not get anything going. The Grizzlies looked like a totally different team. Yeah. From when I saw them a couple weeks ago here, they looked like a totally different team. Like you said, we were talking earlier that they looked like they had structure. They looked like they knew what they were doing. Their defense was playing good. Their quarterback was playing really well. I mean, they had some good plays. They had some good plays drawn up, So it was exciting. It was like a totally different team.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? A couple of weeks ago, I was there when they played against Indianapolis, and look, Indianapolis is a great team, and they're a tough beat no matter what. But it's kind of like I was explaining to you before the show, and this is the analysis part that we could break down here, was the fact that to me, it did not look like as if Mid-Michigan had structure, had like set plays, right? And it's nothing against them. I think it's just Indianapolis kind of overwhelmed them a little bit. So what did they do? I don't know what happened between that Indy game and that Tri-State game, if it was just something that they just were angry about and they came out or what. But when I watched that game and just watching it from what I've seen already, right, Mid-Michigan looked good, right? Like I said, they came out, it looked like they had a set structure. Their offensive line, which was something that I kept talking about over and over again, was they were just not able to hold blocks. They were doing that job against Tri-State, and they did a fantastic job with that. And I think that is a huge motivation for them going forward, right? Because I believe, if I remember correctly, that should have been their first win. So to finally get that first win off, is something that really helped that team out. And I think spring forward, they're going to be able to get something done. Now, I believe, I can't remember exactly who they play. We'll discuss that later on. But I think they play against, they're actually on a bye week this week. So they'll be able to regroup and refocus and get some of that done. But But overall, what I saw from that, Curtis, was just fantastic football, right? But then the question really is, with that on the flip side, what's going on with Tri-State?
I don't
Right?
know.
Because Tri-State was a team that a lot of people talked about as being a really good team, and maybe even somebody that could possibly put a good fight up against the Enforcers. And what we've seen so far, I don't know if it's just they're coming out struggling with the gate or what, but something ain't right, Curtis. What do you think?
Last week, from what I saw, the quarterback play was not good, very good at all. I mean, he had some good passes, and I think there were some drop passes, but
There was a lot of overthrows
play,
too.
Yeah, there was the quarterback play wasn't that good. I mean, I don't think for Tri-State last week, but I don't know. I thought for sure coming out of the gate, them guys would be undefeated. I thought they'd be 2-0 or 3-0, undefeated. That team, I just thought they would have no problem just going undefeated. But from what I've seen the last couple of games, I do not know what's going on there with them. But I like the Bulldogs. I think them guys, I watched them. Of course, they lost pretty bad in the first game. I think it was 46-0. And that was against the Enforcers. That was the one you called, wasn't it?
Yeah, correct.
And it was 46-0 there. I couldn't believe that. The Bulldogs. Sanchez is a good quarterback for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him. He's playing pretty good, but I think he can play better. Sanchez for the Bulldogs.
Yep.
And I know.
Yeah, the first game against Midwestern was 36-0.
Yeah.
The second game was the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Against Mid-Michigan. So, but continue. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the quarterback for the Enforcers. And I know the Enforcers had a bye last week, but the Maurice Mojo Jones there, the quarterback for the Enforcers, I think he had 7 out of 11 for 111 yards. That was before the bye. And now I think it's going to be better this week when we get to the Saturday doubleheader. I think we're going to be surprised how much Enforcers are going to score. I think they're going to score quite a bit. I hope not, because that's my team, the Bulldogs. So I hope they don't. But I don't know. No,
we got quite a thing going there, because obviously you're already calling Midwestern as your team, and me being in Indianapolis, I got to support my guys in the local team here. But but really, I'm a fan of all the MAFL.
Me
anyway,
too.
so but yeah, so rolling into the second game, as we kind of already touched up a little bit here, was the Midwestern Bulldogs going up and losing to Detroit 12-0. To me, I don't know exactly what happened with Midwestern here. It was something that I thought, Detroit has been that team that a lot of people have also talked about too, and they're undefeated, and rightfully so. And a lot of when you watch Midwestern, I thought coming out the gate in the preseason, Midwestern was a team that was really going to be pretty good, right? They played up against Mid-Michigan in the preseason. Lamar Stovall was a guy that I praised about before that, right? He's made some good plays this season as well, and Donovan Sanchez is a really good quarterback too. And but a lot of things, like when you have under center arena football, as the MAFL is, your offensive line is a big piece of your team. The game is won and lost, I feel like, at the line, right? And so when you don't have that protection, and that's something that I've seen so far. I haven't been able to see Detroit in person, but when I watch the other teams so far, and Indy is just that team that just has that solidified offensive line. But if you can get that offensive line, like Mid-Michigan did, for example, you see what happens. They're able to win ball games. They're able to score points. So I think with what Midwestern's able to do, I don't know if it's going to be something that, like with Midwestern, I just don't know if they're going to be able to rebound back or not. I feel like they're going to, but they're going to have some tough challenges along the way here. What was your thoughts on the Detroit Midwestern?
Well, geez, I didn't watch that game. I only saw a little bit through Facebook or something with the last week Bulldogs and stuff, with the Bulldogs and Bandits. But there was a lot of people at the game, and they just said that Midwestern wasn't their South. They weren't playing up to their par. Bandits just outplayed them. Just that's what a lot of people were telling me on Facebook because they were on their phones and stuff, watching the game. And I would, because I was curious about the Bulldogs, what they were doing, but everybody said they were getting their butts kicked by the Bandits. And I didn't know if the Bandits were that good. I never really seen them play. I haven't seen the Bandits play a full game all the way through really yet. I want to focus on them and watch them when they have a televised game through Shady Sports Network. I'm going to sit right through it and watch it and get used to them a little bit more of the players and the quarterback and all that. So, but I am getting excited about the Bandits. I think I hear and I'm seeing that they're pretty darn good.
Yep, definitely. So, and it'll be intriguing. They got a little bit of a tough schedule coming up here for them. We'll see, how, what the challenge will be for them. But so moving forward with this, we can obviously talk about the week 3, and we'll wrap this up here with with what you think is going to be your player of the week, Curtis. I'm going to let you pick this week's player of the week. I know you said you got a couple guys that stood out to you. So talk about who those players were.
I think Cody Beal was pretty good. I mean, he did pretty well, and that was November 2nd there against the Grizzlies. And he had 7 out of 19 for, I can't remember how many yards it was now, but he did pretty good. Cody Beal was pretty darn good. And, there's a couple quarterbacks in there that I like. The Enforcers quarterback there, I would have to say probably Mojo Jones there of the Indianapolis Enforcers. I would have to say probably would be player of the week probably for last week, not this week. I don't know what's going to happen this week, but I would pick him.
Well, and Indy was on a bye last week, so
yeah.
So we'll have to. You said Cody Beal, so we'll stick with Cody Beal.
Yeah.
As your player of the week. So want to bring up the standings here real quick. These are the end of week 3 standings going into week 4, and let's go ahead and bring those up now. So as you can see at the top of these standings, it is going to be the Indianapolis Enforcers, as we talked about, and the Detroit Bandits, who are both 2-0. And then you can see here that Midwestern and Mid-Michigan are both 1-2. And then you got the Tri-State Bucks, who are 0-2. So when you look at the standings here, Curtis, and we'll leave this up as much as we can here, can you talk about what in your mind sticks out to you about these standings?
Like I said, I think the Enforcers are definitely the best team at all. Of course, I've seen them more. I've seen them play more than I have the Bandits. So that's my feeling. I feel that the Enforcers are going to continue to be undefeated after this weekend. I shouldn't keep bringing up this weekend, but that's my feeling. The Bandits look good. And, of course, the Bulldogs and the Grizzlies, they have a bye week this week, right?
Yes, the Grizzlies are on the bye.
And the Bucks, I can't believe they're 0-2, but they're 0-2. That's unbelievable for me. I can't believe the Bucks are 0-2 right now. I would think it would flop the other way and they'd be 2-0. But
yeah,
that's what we're looking at.
Well, and I mean, it's always one of those things where every week you're going to, the games have to be played out, right? And Tri-State, they have a good coaching staff over there that hopefully they can get things turned around here and get a victory, maybe even starting this weekend, but that's going to be a tough one, as we'll discuss later on. So that is going to be the recap here for week 3. And as I said in the intro of the show, this is really just the introduction video for the entire podcast. We're hoping that the more that we get into this, the more information and breakdowns and things we could do, going down the road here. So what I want to do now is the exciting part, right? This is what I was actually really looking forward to, is being able to bring in the interview that we have, and being able to talk to him. So I want to bring in the guy that I feel like is what I've seen so far has been a dominant force in this league, and he's somebody that when you do talk about the MAFL, this guy's name comes up quite a bit, and so able to pull a few strings, thankfully. But joining us on the show, and hopefully he can hear us, is the none other than the Indianapolis Enforcers running back Neil Jones, coming in the house. Neil, let me get you in here, buddy. There you are right there. Neil, how's it going, man? Thank you for joining us. We are honored to have you. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just good, man. Just good. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Want to get a little bit of background on you first, and let's just talk. So obviously you're the running back for the Indianapolis Enforcers, but tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Oh man. Other than that, man, I'm coach to the kids, father first.
Yep.
Got two baby girls I love. My oldest daughter kind of was in our interview last
She
week.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, man, I just coach and do my best on the field and try to give back to the community any way I can.
Gotcha. All right. And so tell us a little bit about the background for you for football, right? Like obviously, how long you've been playing, where did you go to high school at? Like, how, was it a small school, big school, whatever? And then just talk about anything else about your football career and how you got to this point.
So football, I started football when I was 8 years old in the third grade. I played every year up until I think my sophomore year. I didn't play that year, but every other year other than my sophomore year since I was 8 years old. Played my high school. I went to Arsenal Tech.
Okay. Yep.
It's not a small school, but it's not when you think of football, it's not a football powerhouse school or nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty well rounded. Got some decent basketball players, decent football players. So, but it was pretty good. High school experience was pretty good. Was just all out. I actually started playing rugby in high school.
Okay.
So I kind of drifted towards rugby for like the last 2 years, but it was fun though. Like high school was fun. Football always been fun, and then getting into arena ball. Actually, one of my teammates, Deuce, our linebacker, number 28.
Yep.
He we was coaching the same kids, and he asked me to play. I was like, man, I ain't played football in like a while. I feel like, cause I ain't really been on the field in a while. And then he was telling me like it's arena, it's different. I was like, all right, I'll try it out. And then I came out here, and I actually kind of, it was like love at first sight. Just got the ball again in my hands, and it just felt good. It was more compacted together, and we started building like a family. So it was dope. It was a dope experience. This is my second year too. So
okay.
Well, where do you think you're going to be in a year from now, Neil? Do you think you'll be still playing?
A year from now, I plan on being in a better shape. Just better. I plan on being a better player every year. Now I'm looking at this more as a opportunity now than just fun. At first, it was more of a just fun thing, just trying to get out here, see what I can do. But now I'm starting to see like everything's becoming bigger, and it could be more of an opportunity for me. Like I'm 22, yep. I got a lot of football left in me.
Yeah,
wow, 22. Wow, man.
So
he's a spring chicken.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the bigger picture now, and I'm starting to think like, yeah, it could really be something behind this. So I'm getting behind this, and next year, I mean, I'm gonna always be an enforcer for life, for one, no matter where I play. But I mean, as far as next year playing, it's all about elevating my career. So wherever that is, whether it's with the Enforcers or not, I'm going to be there.
Yep. Yeah, and that. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say that I think this league is growing. Like I was telling Chad earlier in the podcast, that you can see each week that you watch the games, they're getting better and better, and the players are getting better. And I know when I watched you play my Bulldogs. I got to quit saying my Bulldogs, but I keep saying that. But you went through them like they were a bunch of bean cans. You ran through them guys like I don't know what. I watched that game, man. I couldn't believe it. I had to watch that play 3 or 4 times. I could not believe that play. You should be playing in the AFL, AF1.
I appreciate that. And like I said, it's all about. I'm looking at this as more of an opportunity now. So a couple people have reached out to me as far as elevating and stuff like that. So I'm open. You know what I'm saying
Yep.
to get wherever I can get. You know what I'm saying.
Yep.
Well, I was
And
just
that's
talking-
the ultimate. Oh, go ahead.
I was just talking to Jeff Fisher on the telephone here a few days ago. I've been trying to get him on the podcast, not this one, unless Chad says it's okay. I mean, but I've been trying to talk to him on I talked to him for a little bit, and then he won't call me back for 4 or 5 days later. Then I just talked to him a couple of days
He's a
ago.
busy guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I think he's turned that AFL around. You know what I mean? So, hey, I mean, when I do the UFL, there's going to be a lot of people watching, Neil. So maybe somebody will see you. I know you're a good player, man. Somebody should pick you up. Believe me.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and really, and that's what this league is about, right? I mean, when you look at the core values of the MAFL, it is a development league, right? We want to develop these players. Like I talked to these guys in Indy before, like we want to develop you guys and get you to the next level. That's the ultimate goal. So what is focusing back towards the Enforcers, Neil? What is the expectations you guys have for this season? I mean, obviously it's probably to win a chip, but what is there anything else like expectation wise for you guys?
I mean, honestly, we just becoming better football players and better men too. Like, it's about winning. At the end of the day, we want to get out there and put our best foot forward and win as many games as possible. But at the same time, it's just about being having some camaraderie, coming together, doing things. As you guys saw, the trunk or treat thing. Like we really try to get out here and we really try to push our name, and we really try to not only push our name on the field, but outside of the field, as like, this is a real family. This is not just a whole bunch of guys that just pop up and, you know what I'm saying, just play.
Yep.
Like we actually get out here. We actually talk to each other. We actually have conversations with each other. Like some of these guys, like I've been knowing for a couple, it's a couple guys that I've been knowing for a long time. Like they daughters call me uncle, like type of thing. Like it's a real family out here. So it's like, when you a part of something like that, it's not only about the football field. It's just about like us being together. But yeah, of course we want to win, and we want to produce on the field too. But yeah, it's more of a family thing than just football.
Now I have to highlight this question here real quick, and this is coming from Shady Sports. They're asking, Mr. Jones, do you have a highlight tape?
I do not have a highlight tape. I've never put my film together. Like
That might be something we could work on.
Yeah, I've never actually put film together. Like I have like clips from last year.
Yep.
And I have some clips from this year, but obviously like last game, everything wasn't exactly caught. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we didn't stream that game or anything, but like the first game, and then like last year, one of our teammates' wives was recording the game, so we kind of like we was doing it that way, and so I have clips of little stuff, but I've never made a highlight tape. No.
Yep. Hey, and that's something. I mean, I was able to make that intro, so maybe we can work on something together with that.
Yeah, we can get together.
We can get together.
There you
what
go.
I got, and we can get together and make something work.
That sounds
We can get
cool,
together
man.
on that.
Sounds awesome.
Curtis, you got any more questions for Neil?
Just keep going, man. That run you had against the Bulldogs, that's a highlight tape right there. There's a highlight tape right there. That's
as soon as I told him you were coming on the show, he's like, "Man, that run!" And he just
I can't get that run out of my head.
He can't get out of his
more
mind,
or less
man.
destroyed my Bulldogs, man. But you know what? I respect you for it. You're a good player, Neil. I wish you the best.
That's a good
man.
team too.
Yeah, you got a
Let's
good.
put that on the record too. They not just little boys or anything. That's a good
no.
team. And they put some fight out there too. Like regardless, I wanted to put that out there too. Like regardless of what the scoreboard is with any team we play. We respect everybody we play. We don't have no harsh feelings for anybody. At the end of the day, we get the win. But if you look like if the cameras were still rolling after the game, you guys would like for the people that's been there, they see. But a lot of people don't see because the cameras start rolling. But after the game, we actually get in the middle of the field and hug it out and talk to each other. Like we actually like have conversations with these guys and like laugh and stuff like that. Like it's no bad blood or nothing like that. Like it's a fun thing. It's an intimate thing. Like I'm not gonna say we good friends and all that, but it's a respect there. There's no disrespect to nobody, whatever happens. And then who's to say like anything could happen? Somebody might put me on the highlight tape and anything. So like, you just never know. It's football, but it's much respect to those guys on each team, Bulldogs, Grizzlies, any of those guys.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I actually sent after the last game was over when you guys played Michigan. You guys all got together in the middle of the field, and I actually recorded that and sent it to the commissioner, Damian Santiago.
We make it our thing.
Yep.
As the enforcers, we make it a thing to go and get with the other team in the middle of the field, and we do a little prayer. And then even for the guys that don't believe, we don't push religion on anybody. But even for the guys that don't, we bring them in a circle just to let them know that it's a brotherhood. Regardless of what happened on the field, the scoreboard, the highlights, it's a brotherhood. We all having fun. We all out here to have fun and get ourselves to the next level.
That's a good thing, man, right there. That's a way to be. That's a way to do it.
So last question for you I got, man, and I'll let you get, but you guys got an upcoming matchup this weekend against Midwestern. We talked about Midwestern. This is a rematch. What's the expectations going to that game? What are you guys thinking about that rematch? And this time it's going to be up north. So teams might be saying something about you guys need to be inside walls for a change. So
so people been saying a couple of things about how like when people come to us, it's more open. There's no wall or anything like that, and people have been saying that that's our advantage. So, and I also noted somebody said about how when you go to Michigan, the linebackers don't have to be 5 yards back. That's a league rule. We just do what the league say we can do.
Yeah,
that's the league rule. That has nothing to do with us. But past that, our expectation for this weekend, obviously, to go out there and win, but it's to go out there and prove something with this win. Like it's cool to win at home. It's a good thing to win at home. But when you go on the road and you put a stamp down and you let people know what's going on, like how it really is with us, then people are gonna start to take notice. So if you haven't took notice, we're gonna put you on notice this weekend. And you know what I'm saying? That's our thing. We don't want nobody to think that we out here, we got no advantages, none of that. We come out here, we play football just like everybody else.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
I love
Saturday, we will see the Bulldogs, right? It's the Bulldogs.
Yep.
Okay, you see the Bulldogs in a rematch. And like I said, much respect to those guys and good luck to those guys. Absolutely, like it's good luck to those guys. But we coming out there to put a stamp on really what's gonna happen for the future.
Man, Enforcers out to prove a point.
Man. I'm looking forward to it. This game. I'm gonna watch both games. I'm gonna get myself a nice ice cold beer, and I'm cheering. I'm cheering for you guys, the Enforcers, just as well as I am the Bulldogs now. Now that I've talked to you, Neil, man, I might go for the Enforcers. I don't know. I mean,
it's never a bad thing to go for anybody, man. But I see Detroit is playing after us.
Yep.
So I will.
They're playing right after you.
Make sure we stay in attendance to take a look at that.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see that in person.
Yep.
And for them to see us in person, because I'm sure a couple of them are going to be smart enough to come early so they can watch us play.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they probably will. So
Chad, I wonder how the Bucks are going to hold up against the Bandits this weekend.
Well, and we'll talk about that on our preview there, Curtis. But yeah, Neil, thank you thank you again, man, for joining the
Thank you,
show.
Neil.
Sir.
Any last words before you want to go?
No, sir. I appreciate y'all for having me. I always be a guest, man. I rock
Yep.
with you, Chad. I rock with Shady Sports.
Yep.
Uh, I'm with it. I like to talk, so whenever you need me to interview, I'm always here, man.
All right. All right,
Thank
man.
you, Neil,
Perfect.
man.
Yeah, this weekend.
Thank you, man.
See y'all there.
I'll
Thank
be
y'all.
watching.
All right, man. Thank you. Take it easy, Neil. All right. And that was Neil Jones, who is the running back of the Indianapolis Enforcers. Great interview. Thank you, Neil. We were gonna actually debut the show last weekend, and we had to push it back because of Halloween. He was gonna be the guest on this, so I appreciate him really just taking the time to do that. So now you kind of segued it into a little bit talking about that Tri-State game. So let's roll into the previews. Right, we're talking about the upcoming games here this weekend. I'm going to bring up the standings graphics because that's going to tell us exactly who's playing where. So the first game of the night, and I thought I had the graphic for the schedule this weekend, and I don't, and I apologize. Is going to be the Indianapolis Enforcers traveling, as we already talked about, to Detroit to take on the Midwestern Bulldogs. All these games are on Saturday night. All these games, I believe, will be streamed on Shady Sports. All these games are in the same building. So that's when he's talking about how they're going to be able to watch everything and do that. So let's roll into this, Curtis. We're talking about week 4. This is going to be a good matchup because Neil kind of really said it best, right? He kind of took some of the thunder out of what I was going to say here is that this is the first road game that Indy has had to have, right? So they're going to have to travel up. They're going to have to play inside those walls. There has been comments, as he alluded to, that's been made about this. It's going to be interesting. I want to get your feedback and get your comments on this, but what do you think about this upcoming game between the Enforcers and the Bulldogs?
Well, first game is on Shady Sports Network at 6 p.m. and Enforcers and the Bulldogs. For the first game, I don't know. I want the Bulldogs to beat, like I said, but you know what? Since I talked to Neil, I really like that guy. He's really got manners.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
You know what I mean? I love the way he talks. He's a really nice guy. But I don't know. I'm actually going to pull for the Enforcers a little bit, man. I know I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't because they're your team more or less, but I'm going to pull for them. If they start winning, I'm going all the way in for the Enforcers. The second game at 8:15 p.m. at Shady Sports Network is the Bucks and the Bandits. I don't know about the Bucks. I don't know what to think of them guys. Every time I see them, they're not giving me something to hold on to. I'm rooting for them, but they're just not giving me nothing. But the Bandits, I did see a little bit. I didn't see a full lot of games of them yet, so I can't really say, on them. But I'm gonna, unless the Bucks come up full tilt and do something really strange and really kick their butts or something, I got to go with the Bandits on that game.
Okay. Yeah, and so going back, talking about Indianapolis and Midwestern, to me, it's going to be a really interesting game because, like I said, first off, Indy on the road for the first time. Road wins are always tough, right? You got to be able to ball out on the road. It gets a tough environment, gets a tough crowd. To me, here's the thing, right? I would love to see how that offensive line can contain Lamar Stovall, right? Lamar Stovall is a guy that's just an animal. He makes all kinds of plays. He's just so good. I've just in watching the games, he's so quick. He's got a nice first step, really able to draw pressure. So if he's able to, because that's the one thing that Indy hasn't really had to deal with is pressure at the quarterback position. They haven't had a lot of pressure coming from the defensive line. So if the Midwestern Bulldogs defensive line can make pressure, if they can get Mojo just a little bit rattled, how does he handle that, right?
Yeah.
He's been getting all this time in the pocket. So how is he going to be able to handle that pressure? He's got a lot of weapons on the outside. You got Ghost, you got Neal, you got these other guys, you got McFadden that's a good wide receiver as well. And so when you're looking at it, like Indy is a team that could dominate both sides of the ball. So like I said, the main matchup that I'm looking forward to in this is going to be that defensive line of Midwestern taking on the offensive line of Indy. Yeah. Can Midwestern create problems? I'm not sure. But if they do, then Midwestern's got a really good shot because Donovan Sanchez is a good quarterback. They have a good running back in there as well. They've got good weapons. They are a team that if they can get going, they can stay hot. They can actually make some plays and be able to make this into a ball game. I am going to stick with my pick of the Enforcers that I originally had written down. I mean, they've shut everybody out basically. That nobody has scored on them yet. Although I will say that both Mid-Michigan and Midwestern, when they did play, they had plenty of opportunities. It's just inside the red zone, right? So that's another key piece I want to see. If the offense of Midwestern, once they get inside the 10-yard line or even inside the 5, can they finish that out and punch it in? That's against that Indy defense. That's going to be the question there. And then we look at the other side of the other game that later on that night, Tri-State taking on Detroit. And Detroit, I mean, Tri-State's got a lot to prove, right? Because when I watched Tri-State play, there was a lot of situations of where I saw a lot of overthrows, right? And I saw a lot of just, it looked like miscommunication between receiver and quarterback. So are they able to get that, fixed, right?
It seemed like Chad last week, it seemed like their offensive line was not keeping, blocking for the quarterback. I mean, he blocking for, they just went right through him and they sacked the quarterback and they blew right over the offensive line and blew right through him. I mean, there was no good blocking. The offensive line wasn't that good. I mean, for some reason, I don't know what's going on with them guys. Unless they do about 150 turnaround here coming up this weekend, I'm not sure, where they're going to go because you only got 10 games in this season. So, and be halfway through the season here in a few more weeks here. So, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the offensive line don't look that good for the Tri-State Bucks.
Yep. Well, and that's got to be the thing, right? Is can their offensive line hold? Because they've got a really athletic quarterback. Yeah. And really what I wouldn't mind seeing is maybe
he's a big quarterback.
He's a big guy. But I mean, when I looked at him, I mean, I could see him as kind of a guy that is, I don't want to use the comparison here because he's a little fragile, but maybe like an Anthony Richardson type of quarterback, right? Yeah. To where you're able to maybe you have some designed runs for him, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, being under center football, it's a little harder. You got to be able to swing around and get that speed going. But maybe some design runs might be able to work for them. I don't know, but that offensive line has got to hold, right? And last weekend against Mid-Michigan, and I have to give Mid-Michigan a lot of credit, right? I have to give them a ton of credit, and I want to bring this up because Chris Frisson Jr., who I know is a big dominant force on that Michigan defense, like they played really good. They played really well. So to be able, with Tri-State, so can Tri-State overcome that, right? They're the only team that has not got a win yet. So can Tri-State do that? They're going to have a tough battle against Detroit. I am going to stick with my original pick of Detroit as well. I think because I believe in about 2 weeks, not this upcoming weekend when Indianapolis plays against Tri-State, but the weekend after that, I believe they go back up and play against Detroit. So we may have that battle of the undefeateds right there. So,
I think so.
But regardless of what happens this weekend, we are going to have some great football, and that's really all that matters.
I think so. It's gonna be a good weekend, man. I'm excited for it. Like I said, I'm gonna have my bottle of beer. I'm gonna I set right in my dining room. I'm gonna put it on, and I'm gonna, like I said, if the Bulldogs start losing, I'm gonna start cheering for the Enforcers, man. There's no question about that.
You gotta stick with the Bulldogs, man.
I'm sticking with the Bulldogs. I am. But
right.
in my that little conscious mind is gonna say, go get them, Enforcers. If they start, but really, I'm going with the Bulldogs. I'm not gonna go against my Bulldogs, no. But it's just like watching the Bucks last week. Like we were talking, but that brings me to mind what I saw is the Bucks offense, that offensive line, that bad, or is the Grizzlies defense that good? Because they blew right through there. A couple of times they sacked that quarterback 3 or 4 times there, where I thought for sure he was going to have a decent play. they come right through and they just went right around and they sacked them. And there was no block. I mean, they could not stop it. The rush come right in there. And I thought for sure he was going to get some good plays off, but never happened. That I don't know if the Grizzlies defense is better than their offense or the offense is, what's going on there with that. But that's what I see.
And I think really with Mid-Michigan in that Tri-State game, I think it was just Mid-Michigan's defense was that good.
Yeah.
And so, and that's, like I said, that's going to be the question for Tri-State is if they are able to be able to overcome what they had in the past few games and try to put up their first victory for this upcoming weekend. So, all right. So it sounds like as if so the first game you're picking Indianapolis, correct?
Definitely.
Okay. Yeah. So Indianapolis, we're both in agreement at that. And then the final game, Tri-State versus Detroit, who you got?
I got Detroit Bandits. Yeah.
Okay. So we're both on the same boat for both games. We both have Indy winning, and we both have Detroit winning this game this weekend. So not a bad first show, right? We got some things that, obviously we're going to tweak and get better. If there's anybody in the chat at all that wants to reach out and give us feedback or anything, please let us know. I think, and Chris Brisson actually, I believe, brought it up. I think I made an error that they're both 1-1, and I put they're both 1-2.
Thanks,
so that's
Chris.
my so that's my apology. So thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. But yeah, so we will, like I said, this is the introduction show. We got some things that we got to work and tweak on, but this is going to be the good thing is that this league is getting some content, right? And content is very important because we want to be able, as we've talked about, this is a development league, right? And the goal is for all these players to get to the next level and to get paid and to do this for a living, right? We would love to see these guys on the field each and every week because I believe they can. And so, anything that we could do as far as content wise and stuff, we'll be able to push that out to you guys and this show every week. So anything that you guys have at all, feel free to reach out to me. We could talk about it. We could, give us some ideas. We are up for everything, and we want to make this your guys' show, right? And if you're in the chat, you guys can easily send questions to people while they're being interviewed. That's not a problem at all, right? We have a set of questions that we ask, but we would love for the viewers to be able to put in some stuff as well. So, last thoughts, Curtis. Last words before we dump out.
I enjoyed it. I'm just like I said when I'm getting used to the league now. I'm used to watching NFL, AFL, but now I'm starting to get into this. Now it's getting structure to it. I can see. Yep. I'm enjoying to see the quarterbacks get their stats, and the running backs like Neil here, Jones was just on here today. I can, follow them better. I know what's going on. I know how many yards they have and how many, stuff like that, the stats and stuff. So I'm feeling better about it. I think the players probably are feeling better about it. It looks like they're playing better. Like I said, I've seen it improve. It's improved. The play has improved. Every week I've watched every game. It seems to improve better and better and better. Either it's the defense being dominant or it's the offense being dominant. And it's this week's going to change. There's going to be it's going to be really good. There's going to be a show out team this week. There's going to be a team that's going to really show how good they are. And I think that's going to be the Enforcers. But there again, I'm a Bulldog guy, and I'm going against my Bulldogs again.
You are again. It's just bringing it out of you.
I know.
Bringing it out of you.
Wow.
So a couple things in the chat real quick. Harish Prasad. My question is, who's that beautiful man on the bottom? Jeez, Harish. shout out to my guy Harish. I love you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. And then the man himself there, Lamar Stovall, jumping in, loving the stream, guys. Thank you, Lamar. I'd be careful, Curtis, about keep talking about Midwestern like that. Lamar, get you. So thank you guys once again for jumping in on the show. And like I said, every Thursday night, 9 p.m., check out Shady Sports Network. We will be here each and every week. And then eventually we'll be able to talk playoffs and stuff too as well. So that'll be unique and all that.
Exciting,
so we'll be able to get into that down the road. So Curtis, thank you once again for jumping in and joining us. I am Chad Roland, your host, and we are signing off.
Man.
So
I love it.
So good night, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. Enjoy the MAFL this weekend, everybody.
All right, Chad.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.